Pink ladies, T-birds, just happen to be watching some of my shit. My name is JImmiPynk, and if I was able to wear the same color for 24 days straight, why the fuck couldn't the characters?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is JImmiPynk, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. What we are doing this month is the Hunt for Pink October. That's where I do a video every day in October wearing pink to raise awareness as well as money for breast cancer research. That link is down below. It's a GoFundMe, and those funds go directly to Susan G. Komen for the cure. Now let's get into the reason that you really wanted to come. Oh, honey. Buckle up. So, a lot of you are going to see this after it airs on television. What a lot of you guys may not know or didn't care to know is that they also dropped the whole season on the Paramount website as of October 22nd. So yes, I binged the whole season in one day. Don't do that to yourself. If you're going to watch this shit, watch the 2 episodes at a time like they going to drop it. Don't do that to yourself. Because here's the problem with binge watching it. As if we didn't already know from the pilot, this shit is uneven as balls, and I don't even know what the fucking plot is. And because we didn't get episode 10, we don't even know how the shit ended. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called the burn off. For those of you who do not understand television terms, and not necessarily tropes, but as well as what goes on behind the scenes, burning something off means they paid for it, they gonna show it. They really don't care if it gets ratings or not. Because if they did, why in the fuck would you start it on the same day that Sabrina the Teenage Witch is coming out? That's your audience. I digress. Let me start with some of the positive things that I did see, because a lot of you guys may have actually seen my review on the pilot of Heathers, and if you didn't, it'll be tagged at the end of this. But it had some great ideas. I thought they were just executed poorly. I am going to say, as far as the dialogue, a lot of that got better. Because they're trying to come up with like their own slang, but then also mix in slang from the original Heathers, which they do. Sometimes well, sometimes like, okay, what's your fucking damage? Perfect example. And I'm not going to go episode by episode, even though I can, because I took notes on all of it. I don't think that's really necessary. What I will say is this. Y'all went to the well of I love my dead gay son twice. Twice. But some of the things, and I'm going to jump around because if you have not watched every episode, I'm sorry, then come back after you finish watching it and watch the whole review, because I'm going to talk about everything in general. But some of the things are used well. Like when we find out JD, who, if you watched the original Heathers, it ain't that much of a spoiler because you know JD is the bad dude and he was just knocking motherfuckers off. Y'all know that already. Veronica finds out JD killed somebody. I'll get to who that was in a moment. And she says, are we going to prom or to hell? That is a line from the movie. That was used well. One of the times it was used terribly is because, oh, if you've watched the pilot, it looks like Heather Chandler died. She didn't. That's the red one, the big girl. So when she starts fucking with them to let them know she's still alive, it's red rose petals and then red lipstick on JD's Porsche. What's your damage? Okay. You know, we still have the potato chips being called big fun, and we still have the drama teacher wants to put on an original play that he wrote called Teenage Suicide, Don't Do It. So there are nods to the show. Another thing I want to say is this motherfucking shit ain't as dark as what they wanted to make like it was. It's not. Insatiable was darker than this. Speaking of darker, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. And this is going to piss a vast majority of y'all off. A vast majority this is going to piss off. Veronica ass just as psycho as JD. And they show that shit. Like, there's this scene, okay, where Betty Finn figures out the people that are around Veronica are dying. And of course in this, she's not just a nerd, she's an overachiever, so actually she's kind of bomb, because she ends up kicking JD's ass. But, she figures it out, and she feels like it's Veronica that's doing it. So she goes to JD. Well, of course, JD is really who orchestrating everything for the most part. So he plays into it like, I think you're right. I need to show you something that she showed me. Takes him to the bridge where he hung Ram. I'm going to get to that too. Well, he was about to kill her, but somebody walked by. So he grabs Betty Finn and kisses her. Veronica is sneaking to see what he gonna do because she worried he gonna kill Betty Finn. Same as the original, they was old friends since they was kids. Just one got popular, one wasn't. This bitch goes completely psycho killer Norman Bates, misery, Kathy Bates on this motherfucker because he kissed Betty Finn and didn't tell her. I'm talking about this motherfucker was going to blow up a statue. She done switched that shit around, put it in his Porsche. I'm like, did she blow herself up? Did she blow him up? Blew up the car. You shouldn't have lied about Betty Finn. Got him committed. Sat there, was forcing him to write her notes and all this shit. Went through all of this stuff. Also, she killed somebody when she was like 8 years old. There's this little part with the croquet killer. And as much as I was happy, a lot of the guest appearances I liked, I was happy to see Casey Wilson from Happy Endings. I like her. I think she's funny. But she's doing like this exaggerated Nancy Grace ass character where she had dug up the story of the croquet killer because Lucy got killed when Betty Finn, now the croquet set is at Betty Finn's house. Her, Betty Finn, and Lucy were best friends when they were little. And come to find out, she cracked the little girl, Lucy. She was the croquet killer. She cracked this little motherfucker over the head with a mallet. And by episode 8, the Heathers find out and they're just totally cool with it. You're actually interesting. I gotta talk about some of these kills. Because of course there's going to be some parallels. Well, we know in the first one, Heather Chandler dies. In this one, Heather McNamara kills herself. First of all, I feel away because y'all had a black Heather and y'all killed her off. In the second episode. They killed her off. Now, in a switch that I did think was kind of clever, because in the original, Heather McNamara was the one that actually was going to actually commit suicide and it wasn't orchestrated by JD or Veronica. but she succeeds. But they are at a roller rink. This bitch slits her wrist and rolls all the way fucking home. I get it, aesthetic reasons, but that's not believable. And then eventually, here's the thing about the show, and I'll tell y'all the truth. Episode 9 was the best episode, considering the fact we didn't see 10. They finally had got their footing where they wasn't using so much ridiculous ass slang. It was the bitchiness you wanted. It was the calculated, even the shot. I'm jumping around, I apologize. The shot with Kurt, who in this iteration is actually gay. He's not framed for being gay, he is gay. And he's dating Heather Duke, because you know Heather Duke is genderqueer. Promposal. At the same time, JD is getting all the stuff to set up the explosion at the prom, which is the original ending of Heather's. Or what it was supposed to be. That was clever. It was side by side shots. They were doing the same thing, going to go get all this stuff, everything. And then when they meet and their scenes come together, like the way the lines like went up and then they were in the same place, like it was dope. It was dope. I wish I would have seen that all the way through. And then he gets killed because he caught JD coming out the boiler room. Kurt and Ram both died. It's not in the gay suicide pact, even though they went to I Love My Dead Gay Son twice. They went to that well twice. Watch your old episodes before you write some shit. They went to that well twice because when Heather McNamara dies, she was a fake lesbian. Actually, she was screwing a teacher. And her parents said, I love my straight dead daughter. Because everybody thought she was a lesbian and found out they weren't. So that's in episode 3. Episode 9 we get I love my gay non-threatening son. But y'all went to that well twice. Even though the visual of him being in there with the football with the helmet on was nice. Nicely done. I think that was episode 8 though. Maybe it was 9. I don't know. What I will say is this. The scene where Heather Duke is dead. Oh yeah, because Heather Duke died too. And Veronica is over him because they got him buried in like a suit, which he never wore. He was a genderqueer. He wore very flamboyant clothes. Sometimes he wore women's clothes. It was always like a mix. And she had went in and put his eyeshadow on and was talking to him. That was the only moment of real emotion I got out of this whole entire show. And it was episode 9. I feel like they got their footing by episode 9, and now I want to see episode 10. And we ain't going to get to see it because they deemed it too controversial. Ram also dies. This was our first glimpse into Veronica was just as much of a psycho as JD. Trying to make him jealous. Goes on a double date with Ram. Ram is actually, in this, Kurt and Ram are actually really sweet guys. And when you see Veronica with Ram, you're like, wake up, bitch. Get with this dude. He was just like so nice and set this beautiful thing up for her on this bridge with all these lights. And he was like a romantic and set a picnic up with spaghetti, lots of oregano. That was one of those throwbacks to the old one. That I thought that was, but it was cute. Because he was like he really liked her. He was really trying to woo her. He had set up all these lights and told this story at this bridge. They say if you kiss someone at this bridge, you'll forever be in love. You'll stay married forever. My parents kissed at this bridge and he had did all of this. But you know JD wasn't having it, so he thought the lights went out. He went up there. JD hangs him from the lights, gets to Veronica, and he's like saying all this stuff. And Veronica's like, you had me when I seen his limp body. And then they start motherfucking taking their clothes off and banging on the bridge. What? She's psycho too, man. The crazy thing about it is she just as fucking psycho, but then you want to be hurt because Heather Duke was really your friend and Heather McNamara was really your friend, but bitch, you crazy. Y'all are not gonna like this. And that's the thing, because we have no idea who the fuck we're rooting for on this show. That's the thing. That's the problem. Remember, if you guys have watched my Insatiable reviews, I said that everybody on Insatiable was despicable people. Nobody was a good person, but you were still rooting for our two leads. In this, you're not rooting for nobody. You don't fucking care. Because everybody is fucking trash. I don't know what kind of social commentary they are trying to say with this, but they missed the mark. Then they have an episode where they're doing an active shooter drill. And JD is asking all these questions, and they have like this stoner girl that's like being very meta, like, don't you think this drill is just teaching somebody, if they want to be a shooter, how to get away with it? And of course they're just saying like she high and stuff, and JD is asking all the questions, and they're like, oh no, because the typical shooter is usually a quiet, very intelligent, nice looking white boy. JD, like it was like this whole big meta thing where he was basically learning how he was gonna set everything up, and this girl kept pointing it out. It was even her idea to do it at the prom. But that was over her conversation. This was... You guys. The Heather being ostracized because she was fucking a teacher. Nobody listening to her, not even her parents. Her parents really put suicide in her head. And I gotta stop on this for a minute, because this irritates me. Costume aside, because there would be no reason to be a pink Heather. Okay? Costume aside, there wouldn't be a place or a reason for a pink Heather, because the colors all meant something. The red meant power. Whoever had that red scrunchie, it was power. Blue because Veronica was dark and sad. She didn't quite fit in. That's why she wore blue, but she wore a lot of black and gray with blue accents, not fully bathed in it like the other people. Heather McNamara wore yellow because she was a coward, and Heather Duke wore green because she was jealous. Because they based the characters on those people, it still kind of fit. But here's my problem. These motherfuckers don't have these colors on the whole time. And that bothered me. If you're going to give me Heathers, and you're going to give me, they wear the colors of Heathers, they need to be wearing the colors. There was like so many times that the red Heather ain't have on red at all. First of all, pink is a shade of red, but you are making a statement. You cannot do that with the wardrobe if she does not have on anything else red. Also, for some strange reason, all of her clothes had some kind of body part on it. It was either eyes or hands or faces or lips. Every outfit she wore had this, except for if she went to like a funeral or something. And not all of them was red. Veronica, in the scene where she blows up JD's car, has on red. She's smoking a cigarette, she has on red. I understand that is a nod to the original where she lit the cigarette off of the explosion that JD dies in. And then she took the red scrunchie and said it's a new sheriff in town. So I get it, but it doesn't work. It didn't work there. And if they would have stuck with JD basically wearing black, which they tried to, but not enough, she could have had on a black leather jacket instead of a red one and did that to show that she was just as devious as him. But you can argue that they was making her wear a lot more black because she was kind of in the original, because she was kind of foot in with him and a foot in with the Heathers. Heather Duke, when you say green, and I get it, olive green is a shade of green, but you have this character that is flamboyant, a genderqueer. Like, that was a whole campaign to get him, which was also a nod to the original, where JD had to work with Heather Dukes because Heather Duke wanted to be the most popular and run the school, so she wanted to be prom queen. But green, when you think of green, you're not thinking of olive green. You're not thinking of army green. They even buried him in an army green suit. Y'all couldn't get a forest green? Hell, y'all could have buried him with a green shirt and a green tie in a black suit if y'all couldn't do it. But he had on so much olive green instead of like that bold, some Kelly green, definitely no like lime green, which is fine because in the original they didn't do that. And there was also a couple of nods to, well, now it's red, but not enough. Heather McNamara, they did do pretty well keeping her in yellow because she was only in 3 fucking episodes. Which, if you watch the original Heathers, they had the hardest time keeping that bitch in yellow too. I guess you just don't find a lot of yellow clothes. But when you have a budget to do clothes, and you're obviously putting things on stuff, because like I said, once you see Heather Chandler's wardrobe with all these sequence patches and stuff with lips and eyes and shit all over it, everything she wore. I mean, it ain't no excuse. And then Veronica, blue is the easiest color to wear, and it would just be scenes where she full-fledged just wouldn't have it on. And I'm not just talking about at funerals and stuff. Then at the end, when they're going to prom, they do, like I said, episode 9 was the best one. It was the most visually stunning. They're all in their limos, and you have, because nobody is going to prom together now, because the Heathers and Veronica was going to go together. Then JD asked him, and then, you know, she mad at everybody now, so she's not going with nobody. So they all got their own limos, because apparently everybody is super rich on this. And you see Heather in her dress, in her red lighting, and Veronica. Here's the thing. Veronica's prom dress is red. Heather's is gold. I'm sorry, what now? Heather's was sickening though. That was the only time that I ever liked anything that Heather had on. That and the big red coat with the big neck on it. But okay, yeah, I get that she's body positive, but did you want to have her be flying big? Some stuff I liked, because she was wearing some like studded jackets and an Hermes belt and stuff. Some of the stuff, some of the pieces I liked, but all that shit with them eyes and all that shit, the fashion is trash. Heather's and the fashion is trash. Trash. Trash, I tell you. Trash. Something as iconic as Heather's, which, believe it or not, kind of gave you the fashion from Clueless. Also iconic. Iconic. Y'all went off into a whole nother plane. Then we had this thing where Heather had to get on the bus. And I guess because she was supposed to be sad, and she was down low. Now she had on all blue. It just didn't make any fucking sense. They weren't doing it right, you guys. They weren't doing it right. Heather Duke accidentally kills herself, but JD was about to kill her anyway, but we thought she was about to get away. That was sweet. I ain't even gonna tell y'all what happened. If you don't watch any other episode, you don't need no character development because it ain't none. Just watch episode 9. Just watch episode 9. Episode 9 was good. The rest of them y'all can have. I will tell you another bright spot. Selma Blair is Heather Duke's stripper stepmother. Was fucking hilarious. Jade. And her name was Jade because, you know, green. Fucking hilarious. She's worth the watch. We got Mo Collins from Mad TV High. We got her for all of 10 minutes. Because social commentary, all teachers must have guns in their drawers from now on. Also, the gay drama teacher was hilarious. But this was just... y'all would have to see it to believe it. Y'all would just have to see it to believe it. It's... I took notes and I'm like, I can't even hardly follow the notes because everything was all over the place. I mean, Heather Chandler was mad. That was funny. Because she got caught fucking the teacher. And they swept it under the rug. Like he was going to be okay. But they said, but if any other girls come out, you're done. And everybody came out and she was like, you cheated on me with ugly girls? That was funny. I mean, there's moments in here. There's moments in here. Shannon Doherty. Boy, you picked the wrong motherfucking reboot to appear in. You need to make a cameo in Charmed, not this shit. So she is JD's mother. I'm not going to talk too much about the pilot because I did a full extensive review of the pilot. Y'all can get up to the end of this video and find that and click on that. But JD's mother killed herself. Same as in the original. But he goes to get a gun. And he goes to this doctor that puts him under anesthesia. And he wakes up and it's his mother. But this is like all in his head. I'm assuming. We also see her again before he's about to go to prom. Because it's basically her idea for her to like do mass killings and shit. What I will say about the scene where he thought, when he was under the anesthesia, he thought he saw his mom and the whole office was set up like Moby Dick. And she started talking about Moby Dick. Like if you ever read Moby Dick. So, it was kind of dope. And I kind of felt like she was supposed to be Heather Duke. But again, she does not have on green and she don't have red hair. Even though she do in the promo. They sneaking y'all. But I thought that was cute. That was a cute reference back to the original. It's all over the place, you guys. Like, oh my God. It's just all over the place. JD has no motherfucking swagger. You know how Christian Slater in the beginning, like you could see how Veronica was into him because he was like dangerous, cool, a little sexy. So she wanted to believe it. Ain't no bitch in there. That's how you know she was psycho. Ain't no bitch in their right mind would go for this motherfucker. He was the epitome of, dude, you are trying way too hard to be deep. Kick fucking rocks. Get the fuck out of my face. He would be a nerd. Nobody would want to talk to him. He wouldn't get no pussy. He wouldn't get no play. Also, it is Veronica's idea to kill the teacher because they were responsible. He was responsible for Heather McNamara's death. Not really, but it contributed to it because she was like ostracized in school for that. And they kill him. And it's this scene where they're like, got him locked in the car, suffocating him with carbon monoxide, and holding hands across the car telling each other they love each other. That wasn't the original Heathers. Veronica was not down with the shit. The first one was an accident. The second one, he tricked her into it was going to be a prank, and it really wasn't. By the third one, she wasn't with the shit no more. Veronica was all the way fucking with it. Then no more after this. But you was okay when he killed Ram, and that was beautiful to you, and that was great. Like, this shit, y'all, I can't with it anymore. I'm glad y'all burnt it off. I do feel like they got their fitting. I will say it does progressively get better, and I thought the last 2 episodes, but especially the last episode 9 was really good. But the way it ended, we don't even know what the fuck happened. And then they gave us some phony ass Heather Duke as a punishment basically has to go work with the AV nerds, and he like remakes this show. So that's what they gave us at the end, was him doing this show from Beyond the Grave, which by the way he had on purple. Y'all, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, and if you do want to watch it, it's a 5-night event. I would suggest you just watch the 5th night when they play episode 8 and episode 9, and that's really it. Now, I ain't gonna say it's horrible. I mean, I did sit through all of it. I never was like, fuck that, like I did with Titans, and was like, or said, well, I'll just do episode 2 and then see if anybody was interested in me continuing. I did watch the whole thing. I did get invested in the story. It's just what they were doing as twists and turns that was supposed to keep you intrigued was really just, why the fuck did you do that? That's dumb. Like I said, Heather Chandler actually killing herself. The other little black foster girl, that storyline was dumb. The storyline with shit. Basically, tell you the truth, all the shit with Heather Duke in it is good. All the shit with Heather Duke in it is good. All the shit with Heather Duke in it is good. Too bad the leads of the show are JD and Veronica, and you're not gonna like neither one of these motherfuckers. Oh, at all. If you like anybody, you'll probably like Heather Duke, and you'll probably feel sorry for Heather Chandler because she never really got her moment to shine. Even in the episode she gets killed in, she don't talk, because every time she tries to talk, she gets cut off. Which is like the point. Nobody was there to listen to her. We also have the Martha Dump Truck stand-in, which is Trailer Parker, because she's really, really poor. And Heather Chandler are selling t-shirts that say I am suicide that look like Supreme logos, and she couldn't afford one, so she made one herself, and everybody made fun of her, and she went to the football game and jumped off the roof, and she was just paralyzed from the waist down. There's a storyline where Heather Duke did a gay conversion video when he was young. It's okay, y'all, it's trash. It's trash. Y'all know I don't like doing that. I be trying to point out the positive. Y'all know I don't like doing that. But it's trash. It's trash. It's trash. I know that it was set up to be an anthology, which means we'd have got different Heathers next year. And maybe. But y'all trying to borrow from the original movie, y'all failed fucking miserably, and y'all missed the point completely. And I understand when you create something different, you may not want it to be the same thing, but for as much homage as you was paying it, you missed the whole fucking point of it. You missed the entire point of the original Heathers. And I gave y'all a chance, but it ain't it, sis. Again, the reason why I'm doing a video every day is for the Hunt for Pynk October. So thank you to those who have already donated. Thank you to those who donate to my Patreon and my PayPal and my live streaming. But if you do have the money, please donate down there. And I got to tell you guys something, because y'all probably feel like I'm like super scatterbrained on this review. And I probably am. And watching this at the same time, this might not have been the greatest review because of the headspace I was in. My very first boyfriend, my first love, and I've told stories about him because, yes, I was physically abused, and I'm not going to take that back and just because he not here with us no more. I found out he passed away at 40 years old. And I still don't quite know how to process that. I really just don't. I haven't talked to him for over probably 15 years, but I really just don't know how to process that. I mean, like, really, like, I was with this dude from my senior year of high school for like 8 years after that. So I don't know how to process that, and I'm getting calls and condolences for me, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm the one that is supposed to get them. So with that news going on, and then watching this, really made me realize how fucking vapid the show was. Like, to me, Insatiable was loads of fucking fun with how ridiculous and vapid it was. But this shit is actually trying to say something, and I don't know what the fuck it's trying to say. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Because I don't. Your writers must have ate a brain tumor for breakfast. Because I don't get it. And they ain't fucking nobody gently with a goddamn chainsaw. They hammering you over the motherfucking head with a bunch of bullshit. So I say that to say this. Basically, if you want to watch something, if you want to hate watch something, if you got time on your hands, watch it. It ain't... You might like it. I didn't, and maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. That's a possibility. But overall, there's some things to see, to pick out of it. I would definitely say if you want to hate watch it, watch a couple episodes. But as far as the show, it does progressively get better. But I would just say episode 8, episode 9, and somebody need to upload on Vimeo or somewhere episode 10 so we can see how the fuck the shit ended. We actually just watched a whole season of something without an ending. They put together this bullshit ass public access show with Heather Duke not even wearing green to wrap it up. And it's horrible. So, keep it greasy. Deuces.
Hey yo, I dog these niggas like girl's best friend, right? Ren 1010, right? Haunted by my past, same shit, different mask like Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you? But I spotted you out like Spud McKenzie. Figured out the game like the Bloodhound game. I thought you was my friend, you broke my heart again. Well, the game done switched. If you a dog, I'm a bitch. What?